one of the first things that I was like, nah, this is for my album, was the song "Watch Me" with Joey. Me and Joey Badass were in the Bahamas last year, and we were working on his album. We were in like the dopest studio on the planet, man. Like in this private community, like Tiger Woods owns it. It's crazy. And we were just in the studio. We must have done, man, I don't even know how many joints we did while we were there, but I know that he finished a lot of the album. And we were really tweaking things and all that, but I probably made like 30, 40 beats in a week span while I was there. And like I'd say at least half this album is from those sessions. So when we did Watch Me, Joey wanted it for something he was working on. And the next morning we were sitting at breakfast. I was like, bro, let me get that joint. Because on the hook, it goes, you're on point, Stat. I was like, all the time, kid. I was like, I need that for my joint, man. I'll play it every week on the radio. I need that. It's like my anthem. And he's like, all right, man, fine. And that's when he like gave it to me. So as soon as that happened, I was like, nah, now I got an album started. And one of the other beats I made while I was there, I sent to Black Thought, and that became the intro. But Black Thought didn't want to give me that for my album, though. He wanted to keep that for something else we're working on. So the fact that me and him got into like a back and forth about it, and he said no. And right before I finished the album, I was like, bro, listen to the way it goes into the second song. And he's like, well, since you got it all figured out, go ahead and use it. But you owe me like 4 or 5 lifetimes of favors. I'm like, all right, bro. Because I've been really blessed with the verses Black Thought's given me. Not that he doesn't bless everybody, but the ones he's given me have been like really, really crazy, man. So shout out to Black Thought. We got something coming, something special. I was in the studio definitely with Joey on both those records. I was in obviously the studio with Term. Yo, I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. This album, because of the pandemic and all this, like, it was the least amount of time I had in the studio with artists. If you compare it to all my other albums, I'm trying to think. Me and CJ Fly were in the studio. The Paul Wall Benny joint they did in Texas. Me and Conway were in the studio. A lot of the album was sent to me, and I don't like doing it that way, but we had no choice during this. It was just, it was just, my phone's going crazy. It was a sign of the times, and it's all love. Like, I'm happy I got it done. When I turned this album in, I was so relieved. I wouldn't say that it really has, because, like I said, for the first month and a half, I was at home I probably made less than 25 joints on the kitchen table on my laptop, but for the most part, everything's done here still. It's the same place I've been at. I moved the turntables around. That's about it. Everything else has been the same. The new approach with music on this album, though, is that a lot of the samples, like a majority of them, are original samples by the Vintage Vandals. They were kind of made for this album. And then a lot of the drums on the album are from original breakbeats that my man AJ Hall does. So I got to kind of craft a unique sound between the two of those, where people can't really put their finger on it, but it just sounds different. I noticed a lot of reviews of the album, people talking about how clear and like clean the mixes are. And it's still got a grimy feel, but they're very like they're original breakbeats, so they're not from vinyl. Some of the joints are, but for the most part, the drums are all like original breakbeats and stuff. So I try to keep it sample free so we can do a lot more, music placement with this album. And I knew I was going to the next level as far as working with Mass Appeal and Rock Nation together. It was like I just wanted the opportunities to be open with this. Sampling is the backbone of hip hop, so it's always going to be here. I've been sampling a lot more in the last couple weeks than I did working on this album. Obviously, because now I can get busy and do whatever I want. During the album, I had a certain vibe I was going for. Pardon me. I still buy more records than anybody I know, so it'll always be part of my sound. Even if we have to replay it, whatever. I feel like a lot of people are scared to sample now, and I understand why, because some of these companies that bought up the catalogs are just ruthless, but it'll always be part of my sound. That's the thing. I was on the road so much, and I was already using Pro Tools, that now I do everything in Pro Tools. So it's like, it don't matter if I'm on the road or not. I'm always cooking. I could be on an airplane, a van, whatever. But yeah, I have the same setup no matter what. Obviously in the studio, I have more plugins and some controllers and all that, but I can rock anywhere I go. Like I made beats in the airport. I've known Rim the Villain for, man, probably like 7-8 years. You know, I met him through Sean. I seen when Sean was working with him and all that. And then it's got to be more than maybe 10 years. And he always, you know, he's been up to my radio show a bunch of times. But on this album, he's like, bro, I know. He's like, you don't have to do nothing you don't want to do. But if you send me a beat, I'll kill it and send it back to you. And I was like, yeah, it's just not how this album's working, bro. Like, I have a certain vision. And one night he came to the studio, and Fame was already on the record. Smoke Dizza had just gone on it. And I was like messing with the song, and Rim was just in the corner, and I kept looking like, I was looking at him. I was like, yo, Fame, should we put Rim on here? Because we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with the record. I didn't have a lot of time, and I always was a fan of Rim's style. He can really rap. And, you know, I looked at Fame, and Fame's like, let's give him a shot. Let's see what he does. And Rim went on the hallway, came back 20 minutes later with a dope-ass verse. And I told him, I was like, if you're going to do this, bro, you got to shout out Sean, because he's the reason I know you. Like, so, and Rim did his thing, man. I'm happy that he's one of the artists that I think I'm introducing to a lot of people on this album. And I always take pride in that. So shout out to Rim, man. He showed up. You know, when it was time to show up, he showed up, and he's on the project. And, you know, he's a dope cat, and he holds down Sean's legacy.